Don't think that way.
Okay. Well, hello everybody. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Remnant Outreach. This is Women's Week, right? The women speak on the first Wednesday of every month. And we want to just give all praises to the Most High God. We thank the Holy Ghost for everything in the mighty Hashai's name.
Amen.
This is not all the remnant women, but these are pretty much most of the women who live out here in Seattle, Washington. And we have remnant members all over the world. And but these are most of our ladies that are here on Wednesday nights for remnant outreach. And our remnant outreach to us is very special. The men be talking, all month. So we get time to gather our stuff up because we be killing them. We be killing the men. We be just off with their heads every time. Yeah. We don't be playing. No, but the remnant men are amazing. And we just really like to bring you guys real life. Our culture book says that okay, I don't know what you guys doing over there. Our culture book talks about our testimony, right? And talk about how we overcame through our testimony and how our testimony gives the Most High the grace, right? Like we show the Most High's grace through our testimony. And it's important to be able to have a testimony, but not only that, it's important to have a testimony to show people how you overcome, right? And so we're happy to be here. And I believe Cassie will be speaking to you guys first this evening.
Yes, I will start us off. Can everyone hear me okay? Was this mic working? Okay. So welcome everyone to our Wednesday night meeting with the ladies. The title today is Esther or Jezebel, which holds weight in and of itself. Both of those names are have different spirits behind them, and throughout history, they've both been used in different contexts. So I think that it's important to shine light on, we're the ladies that are up here tonight, the ladies that are watching, the ladies that will watch, we're all at different points in our salting process, in our growth, and in different relationships with the Most High. The way that we speak to him and the way that he speaks to us. So I think that it's important, as we always do, are transparent about all experiences and being honest about that. So I will start at the Jezebel side of that title. I have some things written down. So when you Google Jezebel, the first thing that comes up is a perceived demonic influence associated with control, manipulation, rebellion, idolatry, which is false worship, and seduction. This spiritual concept describes traits like sowing discord, which means intentionally causing conflict, disagreement, or division among people, often through gossip, slander, or stirring up trouble to break unity and create strife. Self-pity, perversion, and dominating others, often linked to destroying families or turning people from God. This is not something that should be thrown around lightly. That name is associated with the demonic influence. And it was brought to my attention that I have had that spirit within me at certain parts of my life, and it has continued into my life now, which is heartbreaking, disappointing, but to be able to identify that spirit is the first step of being able to drop that thing off, as I had said. So, and lots of this isn't even just in the women today. This
What
could
are
be
some of the characteristics where you feel like you're still carrying that spirit?
So even last month, our last women's class, I had spoke about this spirit, but didn't put a name on it because I didn't really know what that was. The domination, the manipulation, the control, rebellion, seduction, all of that has played into different parts of my life since childhood. And now I see that still come up when the ego's there, when I want to get my way, manipulating the situation, or when I'm in a conversation or an argument, if you will, and it's the need to be right. That all goes along with that demonic spirit. And I thought about it too. And someone said that to me when I was a child, maybe 10 or 11 years old. It was a family friend, and we were at, a family house party or whatever. He was just known as being the drunk guy. And I was mouthing off something, and he's like, "You're just a Jezebel." And I was a kid, right? So I didn't even really know what that was. I mean, I've heard it, but So it made me think about that. Back to also last month when I spoke about carrying around those two little girls with me throughout my life. Same thing. Carrying that demonic spirit was, like I said, something obviously that I had not conquered up until that point, up until yesterday even. So being able to identify that, being able to correct it, being able to be transparent about it, because it's not just me, it's prevalent through society today and amongst women today. I mean, this is in all different walks of life, all different races, all different households, the manipulation, the control, the seduction, the, self-pity, dominating others. So that's the Google, the Wikipedia, the world answer for Jezebel. Then when you look back into our history book, it's also mentioned there, right? In Kings 1 and 2, Jezebel was a real person. Jezebel was a Phoenician princess who became the wife of King Ahab. She promoted Baal worship, persecuted Yahweh's prophets, and orchestrated the murder of Naboth for his vineyard, symbolizing evil, idolatry, manipulation, and lust for power. Eventually, she was killed by an Israelite military commander who ordered for her to be thrown into the street where she was trampled by horses and eaten by dogs. So that's the history of the root of where that spirit came from, was a real person and has continued on today.
And the
That-
sad thing is that she literally turned from the Most High to serve Baal, which is a false god. And that right there tells you that how dangerous it is when you could be in the midst of the Most High and then choose another god. And then the devastation of having other people follow you, especially women, follow you in that sin. Right? So when we're talking about Jezebel and Esther, and we're giving a difference between remnant and the world, right? And how people operate in the world, because we have all operated with the Jezebel spirit, right? We've all been there, because in the indoctrination, we're taught that, right? We're taught to manipulate. We're taught to manipulate from from birth, literally,
Right.
with lying, and all other kind of things of how you act to get something. When you're behaving a particular way to have the outcome the way you want it to be for a specific purpose. We don't operate like that as remnant women, right? We're operating to build. We're operating to serve, right? There's no manipulation, and we're serving the Most High. It's like how we behave, how we respond. We don't react, right? And we operate in a manner that is virtuous, right? It's not shameful, right? And our intention is never to manipulate for our benefit, right? Because we don't have to do that. We don't have to manipulate for something that we want, right? Because there's no cares, needs, and wants over here, because we know the Most High has us. So it's like in the world, we're taught that cheating. We were saying something earlier. Nunu said cheaters never win. And then my husband said, well, cheaters always win, right? Because then if that was the case, they wouldn't be called cheaters.
Right.
So then it's like, just for her to say that and know that cheaters never win when they really do, right? Because manipulation is huge, and this world is ran out of manipulation, right? So if we are operating like that in the world, and we come in the remnant and we learn, we are able to teach women and men that we don't have to manipulate, right, to get our way. And even in relationships, we don't have to manipulate to get our way, right? We understand positions, and we understand serving and building is the difference, right? Because over here with remnant, in the world and in assimilation, they're not into building. It's all about self, the Jezebel spirit, self, right? It's almost like Eve, self. It was about what I could get when she already had everything, self, right? And we know that over here, it's not, over here, we know it's not about us. So our testimony, our giving, our serving, we know it's not about us. It's for the next person that needs to hear that they've gone through the same thing, but they don't have to stay there, right?
Right.
And that's what's powerful about our testimonies, right?
And what's so beautiful about what it is that we do, and being able to speak about that, because that's the last thing that I want to be associated with. That's absolutely disgusting. That's just shameful. But it's important to be able to identify that, because like you said, we've all experienced that in one way or another. So for me to be talking my stuff and be able to walk with the Most High as a virtuous woman, as a wife, being in this word, teaching others as well, to still be associated with that in any way at all can't be. So I'm on top of it.
want to speak next? Who would like to go next? You want to go, correct? You want to go next?
Don't jump up all at once now.
She's like, no.
Keep it going. Okay, hold on 1 second, because I didn't pull my dress down and it fell right back off. Okay, that should be better. Whew, good evening, family, and everyone on live. So I was just thinking,
This is Queen Naya.
yes, the Queen Naya. So I was thinking, just this topic. Excuse me, let me chew these minutes. So, I was just thinking, in my past, how I definitely had that Jezebel spirit, just wanted to be in control, rebellious, just all that, right? Even when I had instruction in my life, right? Being raised by my father, who would tell me right, and I would go the opposite way, trying to, thinking that my way would be better. I could prove somebody wrong who've seen it for many years through plenty of people, the same results. And I would just think that for some reason I would just be special enough to, to have a different outcome. And I would be fall in the same category, right, of those mistakes. And it just not having a good outcome, right? So, and with that, just like Deb was saying, how in the indoctrination, even at a young age, that it's in us to operate that way, because you don't see, without the information, you're going to operate in indoctrination, period. It takes for the information for that change, right? And I was just thinking, how I love the Esther story, and how much I relate to Esther, just in that preparation process for the king, right?
Yeah, right.
So, and just thinking of it like that, where, coming from the world where all the women, you just have that Jezebel spirit. And I would even operate like that up until even in my salting process, still having that control, that rebellious, just all of that, right? And having that, for the Most High, we had a class Monday, like I was saying, how he will show you those things that will be in you for a reason, for it to be salted out of you. But you have to get on top of it, and you have to see it and want that change for yourself. So it's like coming from the world, like I was saying before, having that Jezebel spirit, coming into the information, and it's like the Most High is like, you start that preparation process, like that, and to become that Esther, that preparation process of what a real woman is, what it looks like, how she operates, to be that queen, to be the remnant woman, and just taking on that, like another part of that class we had was what is that word? That just that development, just going from really, really salting that spirit out of you, to excuse me, to salting that out of you, to get to that highest point of what a remnant woman really looks like. It's like having that accountability, that accountability, integrity, the responsibility of your people, and it's just like with Esther, it's like even in her beginning, where she had that comfortability, You know, she had her position and she was comfortable. She didn't really want to step out until it took for her uncle to tell her, well, regardless, you're gonna have to do something. You know, you're not safe regardless in in your position. You know, so even in the remnant, just because you're here, you don't get comfortable. You still have work to do. You still have to keep pressing through, right? So, you know, so just looking at it like that, and when I just look at my life, still having to, you know, just operating like that, you know, just going through that process. You know, when I first came into the information and how I'm seeing it is really, you know, appreciating that process when I was in the world, and I would want to know what a real woman looked like, you know, how she operates, how she, you know, just being what a real woman is, you know, and you won't get that unless you're here in your culture, really learning what that is, you know, and really learning that from the Most High Himself, right? Because that's like learning that, getting that from the source, you know, for yourself, right? And constantly growing. And again, it's like, you know, just going through that from where I was, you know, having that Jezebel spirit and just being the best at that, right? To now having to, you know, me going through my preparation process, you know, and you know, just going through those feelings and those emotions and of really getting that old person out of me, you know, because that's not who I never was. It's like that for our remnant. You know, who we was in the world isn't who we are, right? And that's what we're here for. It's not what we're here for, but that's what we learn here. Because what I like to say is the Most High will show you Himself, right? When I look at myself today, it's Him really showing me who I've always been, you know, and I'm continuing to grow every single day in this information. As much classes we have, revelation we get from the Holy Ghost, you know, and just continuing, you know, to constantly, you know, just constantly going through what I still say that preparation process, you know, it's like for something greater, to really go up against the system, to really conquer, you know, but this is just that, you know, just getting out, just getting all of those impurities out of you, you know, because here in the remnant, we are, this is the as pure as it can get, right? You won't get that in the world. You won't feel that in the world, right? Unless you are here in the remnant getting this information, right? So that's just how I see it, as, you know, just really being grateful, right? Of you know, just looking at where I was and wanting that development for myself, really wanting that, taking on the information for myself and wanting to press through, right? To just to be remain to first, you know, just to, how I want to put this. It's like, you know, just to receive everything the culture has, you know, just everything, you know, even just the blessings from the Most High, right? And you know, but just really being that Esther, you know, what a remnant woman, when she takes on her position and she takes on, she, you know, when one thing that my husband would had a conversation with all of us, but me especially, you know, just broadening ourselves out, right? And not just looking at ourselves, having that selfish spirit, but again, the accountability for our people, feeling responsible enough, you know, just like Esther, when she got out of, you know, just being comfortable in her position, and when she had to broaden it out, not just look at herself or whatever the case was, and when she had to help her people, right? But she was still, you know, it was the will of the Most High, but still she had a decision, right? She had that choice. right? But just feeling that accountability, just being grateful for that, and not just being in the world where just carrying on that just self, right? And it's like, when I look at, my husband and how he's just so complete and full, the example, in the remnant, a leader, right? And just when I was thinking about it, because I used to be very selfish, right? Like I would think that I would be giving and everything, but I would be selfish. My actions would show selfishness instead of selflessness, right? And you're only selfish because you think that you're full and you think that what I have is mine and only for me, but you're that way because you're not, right? But when you're full and when you not just looking at self, you're able to give. You're able to be you're able to to give, right? You're complete enough to not just take for yourself, not to just look at self, but to know that, you know what, I'm complete enough and full enough to spread this, to spread the love, to spread, just to just spread, right? To just just to give, right? And that's the beauty in our culture. And when everybody takes that for themselves, right? And everyone is like that, being in a community where no one is selfish, no one cares, no one is just for self, everybody just is, because our God is love, and we take that for ourselves. We love, we're full of love, and we spread that to each other, and we give whether we have it or not, but we make sure that everyone is taken care of, because again, like you were saying, there's no needs, cares, or wants, because we know that the Most High takes care of everything, right, under our submission and obedience, so um yeah, that's just that just might be it for now. But but yeah, just looking at, you know um those transitions, right? And just looking at how blessed I am, to have that clarity, and for that to be out of me, that Jezebel, right? Going from that to the Esther, and being able to is real when you can relate to your ancestors in the culture book. That's how it's real. And that, yeah, when you can see yourself, when you can see yourself in the remnant from our culture book, so that when you look at yourself, that that there's you just constantly building, right? Like we say, you're building and pressing through, and yes, all praises.
All praises. Bam. Go Queen Naya. First of all, I want to say yesterday was Naya's birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yes, we love you. And for those of you who don't know, we share the same husband, right? And over this last week, our husband took her to Cancun for her birthday, which was beautiful. It was her first time out of the country, and she was so beautiful, and they had an amazing time. But there was some comments being wrote like, "Where's Dove?" and "What's going on with Dove?" and all this stuff. And let's go back again. I ain't went nowhere, and I'm not going nowhere. And in our culture, we are, because we know and understand our culture, what we do understand is that because the Most High has given us grace and we give him grace through our testimony, I'm one who can say that everything the Most High has given me, I create with it, right? I can create space. We talk about time. I can create time. I create awareness. I create fear in the indoctrinated because of how I operate under the Most High, right? I create awareness of how we operate through the Most High. So just because you don't see my pretty picture up on Instagram or Facebook don't mean that I'm gone, because remnant don't die. We multiply, okay? We build around here. Just to let you guys know that that's what we do. We build, we support, we understand. You cannot come over here and the Most High has built greatness in me, and then I fall down because what? Right? In the indoctrination, a person having sex with somebody else will kill you. You will want to go slit your wrist if your man go sleep with another woman, or if your woman go sleep with another man. But it's in our culture, right? It was our culture. We're Israelites. We were raised in that culture, right? If you Christians won't teach you that, but if you we've had people write us and say, you know, you're only supposed to have one wife because it's in the book, in the Bible. Well, what Bible are you reading? I'm trying to figure that out, because in our Bible, our culture book, because we are the real Israelites. We are not Gentiles, right? We're the real Israelites that they robbed that from us because they didn't want us to have access to our real true identity and power. But once that is reestablished and you understand what nation building really looks like, right? And you understand that in our culture book, most of the men have multiple wives. And we can go back and look at Esther, right? Who, when you really think about how powerful Esther is, right? Now, mind you, let's go back a minute. Let's go back to Esther, because let's break this down. Esther's husband was not a man of the Most High God. He served Ahura Mazda, which is another god who was a false god, right? But because her uncle had raised her up and taught her that she had to take care of some business for the Most High. Yes, she did have a choice, because if she didn't choose to do it, then somebody else would have took her place. I always said that's not going to be me, because the indoctrination wants you, Satan wants you to believe that this is how we should operate, because really this system is what taught us and changed the culture of multiple wives. But Esther went in there and married this man who was not of the Most High God to fulfill prophecy, right? She literally went in there to save our people, right? Because of something that an evil man was trying to do. Go read the book of Esther for yourself. But it's powerful because not only was she that kind of a woman and was brought up, she literally went in to serve for a purpose that goes to show you the difference between Jezebel and Esther, right? Because Esther went in to serve a purpose for the Most High God. It wasn't manipulatory, because she still served under him as his wife, right? She still did everything according to how she was supposed to operate, and then was still giving grace and mercy under that king, because she was able to do things that other people wasn't able to do, like go to the king when he doesn't call on you. You're not supposed to do that. You could be killed for that, whether you wifey or not. So she literally went to him and was able to get him to talk to him to help save her people. Go read the book. It's powerful, because when you look at the fact that she went and married somebody that did not serve our God to fulfill something to save our people, that's power within its own self. It's just straight powerful, because she went in knowing that her life could be taken from her, but she believed, right? She went in operating in the belief that we all operate in. So when you see my husband operating with Naya the way that he does me, then it shouldn't even be shocking to you. It should be shocking if he doesn't operate with her the way he does me, right? And I wouldn't want it no different, because who I've been raised to be and who I've been all my life is knowing Naya even before they were even considering being together, loving the remnant, period, having that remnant love and knowing who she is and knowing who he is. That's what you got to know. And like I said before, I've mentioned it before in another class, where the indoctrination keeps people hidden. We don't do that, right? And because we don't do that, we're able to operate in full transparency, right? That means that I give space because of who I am. Then my husband can be comfortable enough to operate with Naya how he needs to operate with her, like he would me. But if you're not a remnant woman and you operating in the indoctrination, everything is going to bother you. Everything is going to offend you. Everything is going to make you feel less than. You're going to feel like he don't love you no more. All these different emotions are going to come about. But if you don't have a remnant man, yeah, you're going to feel like that, because you're dealing with an indoctrinated male. You're not dealing with a remnant, M-A-N. Right? It's a total difference from boys, males, and men, right? And it's funny because when you look at people in the indoctrination, right, when they're looking at certain situations, just think about this. Wouldn't you feel funny knowing that, yes, he got married, he got a second wife, but why am I always seeing Dove and I'm not seeing her? Or why is he taking me on a trip and we never see Naya on a trip? That's not how we operate over here, right? And because we operate in full transparency and neither one of us want each other to be treated less than. When Naya first came, she said, when I used to watch Dove and Andre, one thing I knew before even being considered anything of a relationship, I knew who Dove was because of her husband. And she knew when she came that because of who I was, because of him and who he is as a man, she knew what she was going to have. That's important, right? Whether we've been together almost 30 years or not, she came in knowing, I know this man is going to treat me like he treats Dove. And that's important, because if you call yourself a man and you're hiding someone, or you're treating somebody differently, or you have to lie to take them on a trip, or you got to lie to do something for them, you got to lie to buy them stuff, you got to lie, you got to scheme your way through, that's a Jezebel spirit right there, right? You just being a Jezebel male, right? A Jezebel male. We don't operate like that. He don't have to, one thing about my husband, he don't have to worry about how he praises Naya, right? He don't have to worry about if his wife, his other wife, is going to be over here tripping because he's praising his wife and he ain't put her up on Instagram for a week. And I'm looking at things people are talking about on Instagram because they see her and they ain't seen me. They think that we ain't together. Like, what's going on with you and Dove? Where's Dove? Okay. You know, I'm right here and ain't going nowhere, right? Because I'm remnant woman, right? I've been built, because that's what remnant does, raised, right, to serve and operate the way the Most High built me to lead. And that's what leaders do. Leaders are able to give space, give time, give awareness, right? Create spaces for other people to learn, right? Because this is a learning process, right? This is something that the indoctrination stole from us, right? These people took our culture, they took everything and how we operated, they took our language, they took everything, right? And now that we're reestablishing us as a people, right? Reestablishing our culture, everything has to be reestablished. And do you think that he's going to bring somebody up to raise remnant women who got issues? Now, what I'm not going to say is in the beginning, it wasn't some things like having Naya around. I'm not going to lie, with us being together for so long wasn't like, wow, you know, it was a really like a eye-opening thing, because we knew it would come. And as you guys know, we always said in classes, because you guys are not in our classes, how somebody had to be when they came. And I totally agree with that. And Naya came exactly how he felt a woman had to come in this particular time in both of our lives, right? It meant something. She had to come the way she came, and she came with everything the Holy Ghost knew she would come with, right? So when people are looking, it's not like, oh, he just wanted Naya. Oh, she's young, she's beautiful, she's this, these, that. Because don't get it twisted, I'm fine, right? So, and in the indoctrination, people will be like, feeling like that's robbing them, that's taking something from them. But that's why you got to be built up in this information, so that when the Most High puts you out there to serve, you not moved, right? Because we always saying the remnant, we are prepared for whatever. So even though I know I'm complete and the Most High prepared me for whatever, he still allowed the situation for the next situation, right? Because when he allows you to be in a situation, you have to know that you've been prepared for that, but there's also something in there that's preparing you for the next level, right? And if you look at it as preparation, and you look at it as this was created by the Most High, he already knew it couldn't break me, because he say he don't put more on us than we could bear. But if you not remnant, you're not going to believe that. If you're a Christian, you're going to die. You're going to kill yourself. Yeah, you ain't going to be able to make it, because you're not going to believe it's the Most High. And because we believe every situation is the Most High, that's how we look at it. Even if you're a little moved, even if it's something that's you're experiencing that's new. Naya had to go through the same thing. She ain't never been through being with somebody with transparency, you know, in real life, like, you know, with that had another wife. Like, somebody might have a wife and be cheating on somebody, and they don't know what's going on. Like, you know, we all done been through that. I have, you know, and then you accept that in the indoctrination, but then don't want to come get with a transparent man in this remnant, right? So it teaches you strength, power, understanding, and nation building, right? Because if the Most High brought something, you know there's purpose. But in the indoctrination, you're taught that there's no purpose to it, because there's not. Everything is built from no integrity, no character, and lies, right? No honor, right? No truth. There's none of that. And in the remnant, all that is present. And so we operate like that, right? It don't mean that you might not be moved with a new situation, but because we know it's the Most High, we're going to keep rocking with it, because we have to teach. People are watching, and they're always watching for some negativity. That's why people be like, well, where's Dove? Well, what's going on with Dove? Dove is the same person yesterday, today, and will be forever, right? It's not changing. Whether I talk about it or not, you know, whatever's going on, just know that Dove ain't going nowhere. Like I said, remnant don't die. We straight multiply. And we will continue to get remnant, and we will continue to build, right? And turn Jezebels into Esthers and Doves and Nayas and Kariahs and Yannicks and Kianas and Tories and Victorias. And that's what we do. Because I was talking to one of my friends in the gym, and I was just felt led to let her know about the remnant. And I was like, you know, one thing we do over here is we literally teach. We're not telling you that Jesus is going to take care of everything. We call him Yahweh Shai. That's his name. We don't say Yahweh Shai going to take care of everything. Just, you know, it's love and peace. Because over here, we know you might have to go through some stuff to understand how the Holy Ghost moves, and the understanding of what you have to go through to get rid of the indoctrination and assimilation that you've been living in your whole life. right? So in order to turn those things around, you definitely got to have some information. And if you don't have no information and you just telling people just trust in Jesus, he gonna take care of everything, you gonna kill yourself. And literally, because I've been there. I'm gonna kill myself because of whatever, some man, things ain't going my way, whatever, life ain't fair and all this other stuff, because you don't have the information, right? In order to get here, where you can understand, right? You can love, like Naya was saying, to be able to know what real love is, right? To be able to understand that, you got to have information, because there's going to be, it's like I was telling her, like, you know, if you don't love the Most High and serve the Most High, because she has just separated from her husband, then that person is going to disappoint you, because you're expecting him to love you the way you want to be loved, because he ain't serving the Most High, right? And you ain't serving the Most High. But over here we teach, if you serve the Most High like you're supposed to, you're going to be prime for somebody else. But if you make that person the reason why you're doing what you're doing, you're going to fail, right? Because that person going to do something to make you not want to be that no more. And now you're going to stop everything, because you really ain't serving the Most High God, right? You're serving a person, right? And you're going to fail yourself and that person every time, right? So over here in the remnant, just know, we literally create with what the Most High gives us. And like we always say, our receipts are proof of our creation, of what of the information that the Most High gives us. We create over here, and we operate, and we move forward in everything that we do, right? All praises? All right. Yeah. Yeah.
Because all praises.
You got
But
Yeah, she wants to hold it.
okay.
Because, yeah.
I just want to hold it.
Tell them your name.
Okay. I'm Karaya, and I would like to say that I've definitely been around some Jezebel spirits, okay? And I'm going to tell y'all, let me tell y'all, as soon as, when you a Jezebel spirit, as soon as something don't work, you immediately start losing yourself. Immediately. You don't have nothing else to turn to, because your Jezebel spirit is your God. That's how you operate. That's all you know. You don't know nothing else. You don't have no information to know, oh no, I got to do this. Even though I don't want to do this, I got to do this for my God. I got to do this because I have to go conquer something for my God. I have to do this because my God has called me to do this. I'm not doing this just because I don't want to, or just in general. But I like to talk about the Jezebel spirit from what Cassie has explained it was. I've been around somebody like that, and it's when you don't get your way no more, like with your man or something, you want to lose yourself. You don't have nothing for yourself. Like, you have nothing for yourself. You're just nothing inside and out, because your man is not paying attention to you. Your Jezebel spirit has not worked. Like, it has not worked.
Yeah.
You have nothing. Like, you're like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? My manipulation ain't working. He don't want to do nothing with me. He done turned to somebody else. He done cheated on me. And what it was a class a long time ago, and Dre said, your man only cheats on you because he does not see what he's seen in you when you first attracted him. So so what I'm trying to say is, when your Jezebel spirit stops working, that, like, you no longer attract him. The males in this indoctrination is attracted to your Jezebel spirit. That's the only reason that y'all be getting having all these guys in your phone trying to flex on people, but that's not a flex. Like, what are you talking about? You over here manipulating every guy you see in the mall or something. You want to give yourself out. You have no virtue. No virtue. You have absolutely no virtue, and we know this because we see you operating. We know you operating. As soon as you try to manipulate me, go ahead and go. You a Jezebel yourself.
There you
Like
go.
we ain't bringing
Yeah.
that around here. No, thank you. But I just really think that nowadays the Jezebel spirit is overlooked because many people have that naturally.
Yeah,
like,
it
and it's
is
really
natural.
because it's definitely natural because if from a young age you're crying because you haven't got what you wanted, and you're gonna continue crying until you get it, and then what else you gonna do? That Jezebel spirit gonna keep upgrading because you gonna keep on
Period.
figuring out.
From
You're
a
gonna keep on
14-year-old.
figuring
Go
out
ahead,
how
Pariah.
to use it because that's all you know, literally. You don't know nothing else. You don't know nothing about this remnant women who is the opposite of you, who is worth more than rubies, like
Oh,
the
yes.
scriptures
Yes,
say.
indeed.
As a remnant woman, we know in our submission and obedience, we know the man for us will come. You just have to continue operating in your virtue.
Yes.
You know, stay respectful.
That's right.
Go ahead, go keep that Jezebel spirit away. Like, you do not need her. She is gone. She do not need to be in you anyways. Like, especially being in this remnant. Like, what are you doing? Why are you leaving the class on Wednesdays and going with your man and crying because he ain't bought you your Louis Vuitton bag that you wanted, your Coach bag that you wanted? He ain't bought you that, so now you mad and you upset. You don't want to do nothing. You don't want to go conquer whatever the Most High has told you. He gonna leave you in Egypt while he going to somewhere else that the Most High has called him to go.
Oh, Pariah.
Like, come on now, y'all out here embarrassing yourselves, literally. Like, what y'all doing? Y'all 30 years old talking about some Jezebel spirit. Like, sit your butt down.
Yeah, yeah.
Seriously, like, sit down. You need to settle down.
Yeah.
Go ahead and settle down. Like, that's all I gotta say.
I was gonna say, that's the beautiful thing about the remnant is that even Cassie, if your husband, which they're both remnant, they come from the same lifestyle. So if either one of you see something, even though you don't correct him, because that's not how it goes, the Most High does. But for him to, if he detected something, to be able to continue to be able to point out something in you that he could see is beautiful. Because in the indoctrination, correction, people don't accept correction, and that's why they never learn. They could fall 1,000,000 times and they'll keep falling because they just don't care. And when you fall, it's like they do care because they don't like the fall, but then they go back right into that indoctrination that creates them that way. And the beauty about the remnant is that the men who have women are able to point things out, and it could be vice versa, right? But to be able to have somebody to wash you like that in our culture, in our work, in the word, and to be able to point out some indoctrination that could be coming out in certain ways that you might not even be thinking because you're so used to operating like that. And we've all been like that. Naya talked about it. We've all talked about it, right? Things that could come out, from the indoctrination and then just pull it right on back. But the beauty is that we have the information to be able to point that out for you to be on top of yourself, right? Which is beautiful because that's what we have. And I know my husband done had to do that to me the whole 30 years, but I mean, that I'm thankful. I'm thankful for the Holy Ghost's correction. And that's the love to me, the love that I know the Holy Ghost is going to show me myself. And if I don't like that, I'm going to be on top of it. That's the love that we have. The indoctrination don't have that because, like, even the baby over here, 14 years old, said, we living in that and we don't even know because we don't have the information. So it's natural. It's born natural. And if you're raising children in the indoctrination, it's natural. Like at a young age, they learn how to lie with no correction because what do parents do now? You can go on Instagram right now and have parents showing their kids cussing and doing all kind of stuff and they laugh at it. They think it's funny. Right? And they promote it. So then when they get older and old enough to cuss your butt out, then you want to be mad and try to whoop somebody. But now they teenagers or young adults and they don't respect you, right? And they can't learn nothing from you. Even if you got to the age where you learned a little bit, now they got to learn on their own because you didn't teach them and raise them with this information or any information that you get because you was raised like that by your mom or dad, right? So to be able to, like I said, to literally have information that's life-changing is beautiful. And we don't love the correction while it happens, but what I've learned is to love that the Holy Ghost loves me enough to show me myself, because we really never want to look at ourselves. Looking at yourself is very difficult, right? Because everything that you go through in your life really can be traced right back to you, right? We want to put the blame on other people, right? And we want people in the world because they enable you to stay where you're at because they don't have no information. And that's what I love about the remnant. Because even with my daughter and everybody else, if we're talking, we can immediately detect something and be like, no, right there, you got to change that right there. Because what you just said, those words create worlds. And now we're building on top of something. But if you don't have nobody to detect that, it will never change. Because you enable your own self to stay there. And if you're talking to an enabler who don't have the information, then they're helping you stay there. And that's how it is in the indoctrination, right? We don't have nobody to help us, right? You call your girlfriend up, she helping you stay right there because she ain't got nothing to give you. Girl, don't be with him. Girl, I wouldn't put up with that. Girl, don't do this. And you see that going on everywhere. Your parents done went through it, right? And you just right where they was at, because don't nobody have no life-changing information to give you to help yourself. But over here, we're not enablers because we have the information. So we're able to give and lift and have you be able to have something to be on top of yourself to make actual change, right? That's how remnant is. We operate this information.
All praises.
All praises to the Most High. Thank you, Holy Ghost.
I'm eternally grateful to have my husband, to be able to correct me in those situations, and to be able to have the relationship that I have with the Holy Ghost, to be able to move through me and work things out, to be able to have the remnant women and our ladies to be able to talk to be able to trust that advice, to be able to get that correction and not shy away from it. You know, that's not something that is in me, to shy away from the correction. It may not feel good in the moment,
Right.
but it's not about the feeling. It's about what comes from that push. So, and that, again, I'm eternally grateful for that.
Yeah, because if he didn't love you, he would never even care about showing you where you at, right? And that's what I love, because if I do something, then I know that I have a husband that's not gonna let me stay there. He gonna give it to me, and then I could choose. But after you've come so far, you should know already. So if you're operating out of knowing, that's different, right? Because then you'll get a different type of correction. You know, because that correction is going to be like, either you're going to stay here or you're not, because all the information has already come over the years. So now if you decide to revert back off of something you already know, then you have to ask yourself, and then you're going to give the ultimatum. You're going to be given the ultimatum. Either you're going to stay here or you're not, because you already know how you operate. And whatever took you back to the understanding of indoctrination out of this word, out of this relief doctrine, which we call the information in our culture book, what you guys call the Bible, if you decide to go back, then you'll be just like Jezebel.
Right.
You know, she gonna leave the Most High and go serve other gods. So then she had a choice, because she already knew, right? And so then that's what the beautiful thing is about over here. If you have someone and they have this information and they choose the world, then you could say, look, baby, you gonna either go over there or stay over here. Is your choice, right? So go ahead on, right? And that person is gonna be like, because I'm like, my husband done told me a few times, look, you can go over here in that route, because I'm staying over here. I don't do no changing. right? So you have to get to a place where you choose not to change with the information you've been given, because it's not like you don't have it. If you don't have it, that's different. Then you could be taught and brought along the way. But once you have it, then the hard thing comes. You either gonna choose the sin or you gonna choose the Most High, right?
And it's a constant conquering, you know,
Of
just
course.
because you believe that you overcame something, or you
Mhm.
do know, that doesn't mean that it's not going to come back up, and you have to fight that every single time so that it doesn't come back.
Right.
And for me, I mean, I've grown so much
Mhm.
and thought that I had already conquered through that, but it came out again, and it comes out. It's my mouth, the quick responses,
Mhm.
the that little bit of manipulating the conversation in the response
Into what you want.
right?
Mhm.
Or not wanting to say yes, or
Mhm.
being that agreeable,
Mhm.
submissive wife, that virtuous woman with the soft tone. So that's what it is.
I think to me, it's the enemy trying to let a person know that you're right in a situation. And because you're right, you have the right to give your opinion or feel a certain kind of way, which we have to be careful with, right? Because there's position, right? And there's a way you operate in that position. And we know that as wives and women, that our husbands are ahead of us, right? It's the Most High, the husband, the wife, and the children. So if at any point you're telling yourself, I'm going to take his position and I'm going to tell him what should be done, then you should already know that you're wrong, right? And that's what comes with the no. The no comes with, now you done took a stance, right, to try to tell me what I should do, how I should do it, and how you feel by you not telling me something, right? And that's what we have to watch out for, because yes, the indoctrination can creep back up when any time you feel like, well, I'm right here, or, you know, this is how I feel, or maybe I feel like we shouldn't. And there's ways of going about that. And that's why the relief doctrine teaches you how to do stuff, right? It's not like how you used to operate in the world in that profession, right? Where you're being manipulative, or you're knowing that you are creating a situation by how you operate, right? And over here, it's like you turn it around, because we're taught to be like this. And if you continue to be like that, like we talked before, then if you continue to be like that and understand position, then you would understand that however you're feeling, even if it is wrong, at some point it will get to him. But you have to allow the Most High to get that to him, not you. You operate in your position and let him operate in his. And that's how I've operated, and it's always worked, right? It's always worked. Whether I felt like I was right, or maybe you should do this and not that, or whatever, it's always manifested if you just stay virtuous, stay humble, and stay in your position. Then the Most High can operate with that man. But then when you try to get in his business, now the Most High got to deal with you, and you prolong him dealing with that man. And it may be something he ain't even got to deal with that man about, because just because you think you right don't mean you right. Right? Yeah. Just because you got a strong, I'm right, and I feel like you shouldn't do this, don't mean you right. Right? Because you don't know what the Holy Ghost is doing all the time. But if you stay in your position, which is powerful in its own right? Then we can see the Holy Ghost move. Right? We really can witness it, because you prolong stuff. Right? And then your salting is longer, because now he still got to salt that stuff out of you that you refuse to give up. Because Cassie got to be right. She got to have it her way. If he ain't doing it like this, then all this stuff, that means that you need to sit back and bring yourself back to position, right? The Holy Ghost, let me get back into my position. Let this operate how it should as remnant in that relationship, and let the Holy Ghost work. Because obviously he's trying to teach you something, and he may be trying to teach him something, but now he got to deal with you, right? And if you just let it play itself out, you might see that you were wrong, right? Or you could have been right, but then you could learn something in the same time, because I've been there, right? But I let it play out, and I see that at most times I was wrong, because if we really believe that the Holy Ghost has instituted and he is in control, then we will let everything play out the way it's supposed to play out. But then you keep intervening and getting in between stuff, and then you create salting for yourself, and then you create falls for yourself, and you create yourself to have to go through discipline. And then that's where the enemy wants you, because he want to make you feel like you're not good enough. He want to make you look like, Cassie, you ain't gonna never learn. And then the tricks start coming in, right? Because then you start feeling bad about yourself, right? And you start feeling like, I shouldn't have did this, I shouldn't have did that, I did this, now I had to be told this, because I've been there. And that's where the enemy wants you to be at. But know that we fall, but know that you already know, right? Because you've already been through that. And you chose at that point in time to make your feelings and however you believe bigger than his, right? And that's why in the indoctrination, they say women just want to act like men, because in the indoctrination, women be trying to run everything with attitudes, what they think, what they want, how they think they should go, with that Jezebel spirit, right? Thinking that they run everything. And they pretty much do, because the men ain't no better, right? The men in the indoctrinated world will tell you, just let the women have whatever they want. Let your wife have whatever they want so they could be cool. Happy wife, happy life. We don't operate like that over here, right? We know that as wives and women, our positions are powerful. And in the indoctrination, you're not taught that. That's why women want to be men. They want to run the relationships. They want to run everything. They want to dictate how the money is spent, dictate this, dictate that, and then they don't have nothing. And we don't operate like that over here. We welcome the Holy Ghost and how he raises us and how he teaches us to operate in our relationships. And that's why everything be smooth. And it might be some little bumps or something, right? But it's nothing that we can't look at ourselves and get up from, because we realize it's the enemy. And we get on top of it immediately with the information. And again, if you don't have this information, you're going to stay being assimilated, right? Being the exact thing that the world wants you to be. Because remember, this world is governed by principalities, dark principalities by Satan. And if you don't know that, all you got to do is look out there and see how everybody is operating the exact same, operating exactly how the enemy want them to, right? Stand where he want them to stay. Stand where he want them to worry about cares, needs, and wants and everything else. Because if you see, if a person out there will kill themselves over cares, needs, and wants, then you know this world is not governed by the Most High. Only the remnant is, right? So evaluate yourself, look at your life and see, what are you looking at? What are you operating on? What is controlling you? What is making you have those cares, needs, and wants to the point where you would take yourself out of this world, right? To the point where you would operate and be mental, sad, just all those things over the things of this world. And you will see that you are being operated and controlled and assimilated by this world, who is governed by the principalities of Satan. So that's what we say we keep out of us, right? When your man and your husband can detect those things, even if you can detect some stuff, the Most High will take care of that, right? Just like if I see it in my children, if I see it in my daughter, I'm getting on top of it immediately, because I know it could be something she got off of YouTube or something like that, because we don't teach that in our house. So I'm getting on top of that assimilation and indoctrination. No, boom, boom, boom. You got to be on top of it. But if you don't have this information, then you can't raise your kids like that. You're going to have them on Instagram cussing and talking crazy and all this kind of stuff and thinking it's funny, because that's how you was. So you raising your children in the same indoctrination, assimilating them to be how the principalities of this world have taught you to do. But thank the Most High and the Holy Ghost for this information.
say something?
Yeah, but I just have to come on here again because the Holy Ghost just gave me something.
Go ahead, Kariah, with all full house.
I just have to come on here again, but I just wanted to say, when you not operating in your position that the Most High gave you, man, woman, kids, and then anything else, if you're not operating in your position, you're making everything else get out of order. You're making, like my dad be telling us at home, when somebody don't take care of what they supposed to be doing, everything else gets out of order. Now nobody know, okay, is it my turn to do this? Is it my turn to do that? Now everything is like, oh my gosh, Google Gaga. So now you gotta so now everybody gotta get in trouble because you was out of order. But it's not even just if the woman steps out of order, it's the man. Because the husband did not do what he is supposed to do and keep his wife in line. As the Most High is telling you to, because you're the head of the household. You are the head of the household. So you should know what is going on in your household. You should know if your wife, your children, anybody that's in your household, are they in line? You need to be going around checking. Like I can't be under the Most High's protection and y'all not, because y'all being disobedient, y'all out of bounds and I don't even know. So now it's my accountability. Now I'm in trouble because I didn't go around, check my wife, tell her, well, not me checking the wife, but tell her, no, you're not supposed to be doing that. You know what you're supposed to be doing. Get right back in line. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you really do got to do that to make sure that you in line. You got to make sure, because it's very easy. You know the enemy's tricks. So if you know the enemy's tricks, you need to be studying your enemy. Like Dre said on the New Year's class, you need to be studying your enemy. Like, especially when you fall. When you fall, you need to study the enemy that made you fall. Why were you defeated in the first place? Why were you defeated in the first place? Literally, like, why? What made you? What made you fall? Like, and so now you got to look at yourself as the husband. What made you stop caring what your wife did? Because you wanted to. She defeated you, so you gave up your position as the husband. You gave up your position as the husband. So now your wife is in control, in a position that she don't even know how to handle, because it's not hers in the first place. The Most High ain't gave that to her. He gave that to you. And you over here getting defeated by your wife. So to all those husbands in the indoctrination talking about some happy wife, happy life, okay, you just saying that because you're defeated. You're done. Just saying that because you defeated. Like, come on. You defeated by her Jezebel spirit. Her Jezebel spirit then got too big. Too big. Her Jezebel spirit then got too big that you can't even handle her no more. She is so out of bounds. She is so out of line. You can't even get her right in line. And because you got out of line, it did not continue to be the husband, did not continue to handle your position that the Most High gave you. Now, the Most High got to kick you out. You got to kick both of y'all out. Y'all both is gone. Y'all both then lost each other. Y'all both ain't remnant. Y'all both ain't remnant. like, bro. Because, like Dre be saying, the Most High, as long as you in your submission and obedience, the Most High will give you your husband or your wife, your desired husband or your wife, and it will be just right. And if you stepping out of line, if you ain't doing what the Most High is telling you to do, you can't get your wife. You ain't gonna get your wife. You gonna be single forever. You just gonna be dealing with a Jezebel. You just gonna be dealing with a Jezebel. As you gonna die with a Jezebel. Literally, you gonna die with a Jezebel. You gonna die. That Jezebel, as soon as you gone, she moved on to the next man. Moved on, manipulating the next man. Literally. Like, come on now. This is why y'all need to get in these classes though, so y'all don't have to be defeated by a Jezebel. You don't have to worry about that because you know the position that the Most High gave you, and you're gonna continue operating in that, so that you don't have to deal with that. Go ahead, Jezebel. Ain't nobody got time for you to talk to the hand. Bye.
So we name you Pariah the Fire.
Right.
Pariah
That is
the
your
Fire.
name. First of all, you see that the women here speaking out, it's just so
Natural.
no, it's just like an honor to have women like this in my life that I can come and talk to when I'm going through something, because like Dev was saying earlier, there's women out there that go to their friends and then they just Jezebelling it along, right? Jezebel talking, right?
Jezebel in a group.
Jezebel in a group, right? And so they're just entertaining each other back and forth, and that's, I mean, I was there before, and so to have this, why wouldn't you want this?
Right.
Iron sharpens iron, right? We over here sharpening each other's iron constantly, right? And so when there's ever a problem or a situation, there's not, I just want to keep it to myself, because let me just go through it by myself. No, you come and talk to us. We talk to each other, and we check ourselves, and we check each other too. No, you was out of bounds. No, you was out of bounds. No, this is what you need to do. Check us. And that's what we need. I know for sure I needed that, and it's just, I just want to say that also, having a remnant man in my life, because I got me a remnant man, I got me a remnant man. And so having that, shout outs, having that is just, and the correction too, and him seeing me, because I wouldn't be able to see myself. I would just still be in that Jezebel mindset of, well, this is just how I am. This is just me, no, you need some correction. Me growing up, the women ran the house. That's just how it was. There's no man running nothing, so I grew up just knowing that, okay, the women say what we do, where we go, all that, right? And so having a man in my life, there was some pushback. A lot of pushback. No, not some, a lot, and even just recently, because of my and it's that you said it, like, dang, I didn't even know that it was a Jezebel spirit, like, wow, that was just powerful on its own, that I was operating like that. And how disappointing to the Most High is that? You know what I mean? I didn't it
And
that was
disappointing to self.
and disappointed to self, but I disappointed the Most High. And just what I did for that correction, because I needed to be corrected, but I also was self-seeking. Okay, Most High, get this up out of me. And so I did a 7-day fast, right? At first I was just going to do a 3-day fast, but the Most High said, I'm not done with you. And I said, I'm not done with you neither, Most High. I still need to hear. Let's come on, and it I've never done a 7-day fast, so it was difficult. I was still working, doing strenuous, activities. And oh my gosh, I just had to really get that holy power within me, to keep striving, to keep pushing, to get, yes, the holy power, and not only that, but I also realized, that Holy Spirit, that resurrected Yahushua, I need that in me. And I want that power in me. That's the power that I have in me. That same Holy Spirit, And so it was just on the 7th day, I just really felt it. I was bearing my cross. I was like, I felt like Yahushua, but it was, how can I explain it? It was just, it was powerful, but it was life changing too. Like, either I choose right here to give up and accept a spiritual death, or I'm going to keep pushing through it because I know where I belong. I know where I'm supposed to be, right? And so I was like, man, I'm just hungry. Yahushua got whipped and beat and spat on and rocks thrown at him. I could do this. And just like that, I was like, got a different, got some more power, recharge, like, let's go, And so there was other things that were said here. And man, if you could have been in my mind, I'm like, oh man, this, right? But yes, just that Jezebel spirit, watch it, because I know for sure I had it. And even just not too long ago, I was still operating in it. And it was, it's disgusting, you freed us up. You freed us up. And what's it called? There was something else that was said, because you're in your feelings and emotions, and as a woman, it's okay. This is something that I was dawning on me. Of course, we're going to have feelings. Of course, we're going to be mad, happy, sad, angry, whatever, right? It's just part of being a human, right? Everybody has those feelings, or else we'd just be robots, right? And so it's about when you're in those feelings, what are you going to, what's your reaction going to be while you're in those feelings, because that's what sets you apart from Jezebel or remnant, right? A reaction or response. And then also that decision that you made. If you make a decision to not operate in your old way, in that Jezebel spirit, having a reaction, that decision means maturity, right? So you're maturing, right? You're not just reacting, you're maturing, right? And so that's something that I also got, during the fast. And it was just a lot of downloads, spiritual downloads. And another thing too was that was disappointing the Most High, that I was making my man my God, because I was just wanting to please him. I was just wanting to do everything for him. I was putting him above the Most High, and so that was on itself was also very disappointing to the Most High. And so that's why if you really want to seek the Most High, just go on I would say go on a fast, give it a try, because it really is life-changing. I've also felt that time was slow. I felt everybody around me was moving fast, and I was just taking life in. I was just like observing the world and just just being and just appreciating the Most High and everything, just waking up every morning, just being thankful, and that was beautiful as well, and I never would have went through that if it wasn't for my man checking me and getting me to a place where either you get this right or it's over. And sometimes sometimes it does get like that. And it had to. And I just want to say, babe, thank you. Thank you. Even though it was not fun, it was hurtful. It was emotional. I had to go through that. And I got through it.
You did.
Yep. I love you. The bounce back. That's right. I'm here. I ain't going nowhere. And that's where I needed to choose right then and there whether I want to still be here or not, and revert back to my old ways and be there and just be spiritually dead. And I no, thank you. No, thank you.
I'm even waiting. Okay. Okay, I'll go. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I'll go. Okay. I just want to say I'm so happy this topic has been brought upon us today for this women's class, because there's been some things I've been going through with this Jezebel spirit. But to bring it back though, in the world, even from like a young age, from what I remember, like elementary, that this had me rethinking my whole life basically right now. But that Jezebel spirit has been there that long. Basically, growing up, I didn't have a father in my household. It was just my mom and 2 sisters, and that I was a problem for sure. I was throwing tantrums, having attitude left and right, talking back. It definitely, if something didn't go my way, it was all hands. No, it was like, yeah, like a problem for sure. And I always blamed on some things, like other things, like, oh, because I had trouble making friends at school. So when I got home, I took all that anger out on my family, whatever. But now, again, sitting here and hearing all you ladies, thinking about my whole life, it was that Jezebel spirit from that young of an age. And then growing up, especially growing up in the household as well, it got even worse with the attitude, with talking back, with just the quick responses. Even when it came to my romantic life, with men in the world or males in the world, if a situation didn't go my way, especially past relationships, oh, you want to do that? I'm not going to talk to you for like 2 days or more. And then it would be basically not like happy life, happy wife, but it would be like, they'd be like, oh, don't do that, like playing into it, and it'll make my Jezebel spirit even more. So it was really rough. And even I didn't realize that was like all a problem. I just, again, in the world, blamed everything else on everybody else, not just, I never took the time to actually look at myself and sit with myself and think about everything that was wrong with me. I just didn't do that. It was just always, oh, it's my mom's fault, it's me not having a father's fault, it's my sister's fault, it's my best friend's fault, everyone's fault, everyone but me. So definitely that Jezebel spirit, and the Most High knows I've had a lot of trouble with that for sure. That got corrected when I met a lot of men in the world, and all the situations I felt like I had to step up and plan dates or like do like control basically. And then it was really easy to manipulate the situation. But this was still in the world, but I met Raphael, my husband now. And in the world, he was definitely a man I was not used to. I didn't like people telling me what to do. I didn't like somebody telling me, correcting me, doing all that. Like, what are you talking about? I'm gonna do my own thing, and I know I'm good. I'm good. But he I've told this. I believe I told you this like a while ago though. But when I met him, it brought out more of a feminine side out of me, basically, because he would take the lead in a worldly way at this time, yes, but I still something I wasn't definitely used to. So that Jezebel spirit, it was like battling like inside me, like what is this? Like, I don't know. I'm not used to that at all. And so I would question, like, he's not my usual type, but there's something about him that's like, yeah, I kind of want to say. But going in this information and the correcting, when it came to that, it was definitely difficult. But I feel like it definitely, the Jezebel spirit, it was definitely there still, but it did it got definitely smaller for sure compared to the world, and smaller as it went on. But recently there's been little hints of her coming out, and so it really took Monday's class, I believe it was the effector. I was just talking. She was going at it. If I have the class cards, hopefully that's the correct one I'm thinking of. But after class, it really, and me and my husband, we had a disagreement that day, and I was really into the class. I had my headphones. I really like needed to hear all that. And so after the class, I took it upon myself to really sit there and be like, because first I was like, the class, I wanted to talk to the Most High. I was talking out loud because that helped me reflect and everything. So I was just saying, basically, first of all, Kiana, are you here for the the benefits, or are you here for like actually for the Most High? Because I didn't have any doubts for myself. I wanted to not put it past me. I wanted to actually sit down and have that talk with myself. But it was like definitely not, because when I started this information, I know I wanted my relationship with my God. That's what I wanted. So, and I even told Rafa this. I told him, even when he exposed information to me, I said, okay, I wanted to take space from like him. I didn't want any influence. I wanted to make sure this was for me, because I've had many situations in the past that, because of their influence, I forced myself to want the idea to pursue like their God or put them first ahead. It was always about making the man, because I loved you or whatever. Oh yeah, in the world. But so yeah, I knew that wasn't for the benefits or anything. Benefits are cool, but that's not what this is about. This is not why I'm sitting here right now. But that was out the way. And so I really wanted to talk to myself about what's really been going on, Kiana. And I was just telling him, because I'm like, it's just been like back and forth with me. It's been the same situation again and again. It's me choosing my feelings over my husband, basically. And it's literally on repeat. Every time I was telling myself, the enemy, it's crazy how he would like, because after the situation happened, I would sit down and be like, how did I even get there? Like, why did I even allow myself, like getting upset with myself, basically. But it was the same tricks every time, and it's been happening for actually a long time, but I actually took it upon myself. I've had many sit downs with myself and the Most High. It's just after that class, having my reflection time with the Most High, it just took right there. Like, Kiani, it's not like you gotta fix it. It's not it right now. You're not being the remnant when you're the Most High made me to be, basically. So I'm just talking to him, and the revelation I got from him was like, Kiana, you better get your behind up, because usually for disagreements, I would wait for my husband to come up to me and talk. We just have a conversation about it, basically. But like, why do I wait for that? Like, basically what I got from the Most High was that you better get your behind up, be mature, go and talk to your husband, and take accountability of what you did. Because I've been like, because a couple of y'all mentioned about, the thing about being like, wanting to be always right, and yeah, that's a thing with me too. So yeah, I got my behind up because that is not the woman the Most High set me out to be, and sat down with my husband, took accountability as I should, and that was like, what, 2 days ago. But it literally took all of that, and this Jezebel spirit, I feel like I know now the enemy's tricks when it comes to that, and definitely when she comes, well, I could like a spirit like that Jezebel spirit that comes around. I feel like I know the tricks now, but like, I forgot who mentioned it. It's something you always have to conquer. It's not like it's gonna just disappear. I just have to know and be in the know. That's also a big thing too. I've realized recently. I'm just always like, I don't know. No, I have to be in the know about all of this. Yeah, I just got to be in the know, and it is a constant battle, a constant war for sure. But I'm just happy this class has been upon me. I feel like it's another revelation to me, and just hearing all y'all, it just, yes, freed me up. Yes. But that's all. Praises.
Good evening, everyone. I'm where should I start? So I knew that the Most High was going to take me somewhere on New Year's Eve when the Holy Ghost gave me development and character development within the invincibility class. Sorry. And so, I had spoke on what that looks like and how you need to develop, and like, just because, and it's really what we've been talking about this week, is that just because you show up doesn't mean that you're safe, and the work that requires in order for you to elevate in those spaces. And so, from in the world, we've all carried that Jezebel spirit, whether it was you were a master in the sexual capacity, the power, like just different areas, and so in mine, I mastered just the power aspect. And I feel like it came from, well, in my childhood, it was I f- it was split into two halves. The first half I was with my mom, and that was really when something clicked in my brain. Is I just started just thinking completely different. Like, I was hypersensitive to my environment, and I started realizing what was going on, and just seeing it and learning how to take care of myself within that environment. And so within that, I was seeing a lot of weakness, and it made me want to overcome that situation by being the upper hand. Like, I'm not gonna just let people just do anything or just put me in any type of situation or whatever. It's like, it was just a lot of that going, just a whole lot of just a lot of no structure, and just kids running rampant, as far as like my point of view, and kids that I was around, and it was almost like the kids had their own, like you had the adults, and then the kids had their own world. And I think it was like, might have been like a few weeks ago when I was in my room and you were in the kitchen, or I was in the room and you were like, as far as like molestation, and you were like, it's shocking that all the women have went through that except for you, like Tori and Naya. And I have. It's just in my, in that case, it was by other children in the neighborhood and things like that. But in my mind, I never looked at a situation and broke it down by who did it in bits and pieces. It was a situation as a whole that I would work on and then move away from. But I would close that chapter to where I never had, it didn't matter this person, that person. I forgive you, but I'm not healed over here. Molestation is an umbrella category. I closed it. that's how I operated though. That's how I learned at a young age that it doesn't matter. You're going to hurt yourself more trying to pluck each hairs instead of waxing it off. And so it's things like that where it's not a secret. It was just that thing of like, okay, and I looked at it like, within that, it taught me how to just move a certain kind of way when I seen those signs coming up, because I wasn't a person that was like, okay, this is fun, let me try it again. It was like, I don't think this is okay. I could sense from the environment that it wasn't okay, and it's not acceptable. But those children, they were older than me. They seen the flaws in our household. They seen the loopholes in there. And so, there was an instance a few years later where my uncle's friend would come around, and it was the same exact thing. He's leaving our household. We were influenced to we had to give everybody hugs. It was a huggy family. So somebody could come through that you barely even know, and it's like, this is aunties, go give them a hug. So you got people with that touchy spirit, and they see that and they take advantage of that. And so even with that, now the adults are having fun and they're partying or they're outside, and then you got the uncle's friend coming in to say bye, but he's looking for me specifically each time, trying to say bye to me. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to be rude, so let me give him a hug. But now he's kissing me on my cheek. Now he's being inappropriate, to where I'm like, this is that again. Like, I got to disappear from that. And so it taught me how to take care of myself in a sense, to where, okay, the babies are put to sleep. Now let me go hide, because I hear somebody coming into the house. And he's seen that. And so, it was moments like that where I just started having to navigate differently throughout my childhood. So then when I ended up moving with my dad, and at the time when my mom lost custody of us, obviously it's the talk of the town. She's not everybody's favorite person. And I'm only bringing that up because that's the spirit that she carried, that my dad could see, was then put onto me as a child. So now I'm trying to figure out how to navigate, and I'm thinking I'm doing things my own way, and he like, you acting like your mama. And I'm thinking he's saying, like, because in my head as a child, and at the time our relationship wasn't the best. So I'm looking at it from having that resentment and that animosity of me not growing up in the same household with my siblings. And so I didn't look at it like, if he says it today, it's an honor, because I know my mom has stood to be able to be like, okay, you know what do you mean by that? But back in the day, I'm like, don't associate with me or her, and that's just where I was at with it. And so when Cassie was talking about how the Jezebel spirit just went through time, I'm thinking I'm doing something different because it's me, and he's identifying it, but he's just, instead of just saying it's a spirit, it was like, that's the thing your mama got that you got. And so I remember one day I would always try to argue it down, and I'm like, no, I don't. How do you know? One day he snapped at me and was like, how you gonna tell me you wasn't even here when you were her age now? And but he yelled it, and it was like, it just stuck with me, because I felt kind of dumb, like, dang, okay, well, like, but I'm still like, but I was stumped in that moment. And so I thought about it like, dang, like, okay, so what did he see for 16-year-old her, for him to see that in me and tell me for sure you got whatever she got, And so I didn't fix it. I just learned how to not be like her. But over time, and the traits that she was carrying that he would mention. And so over time, in our household, my dad was the one that was always right, not because everybody let him have it, but he was proven to be right all the time. And so it got to a point where it was like, okay, don't go up against him, because he know what he's talking about. Don't even, whatever the case. And so over time, it wasn't even like I was striving to be like him. I just started hearing that over time. Like, dang, you act just like Eddie, and you a female version of Eddie. But I took it as a compliment, because I'm like, oh, okay, I must have got somewhere. Like, I done got that spirit that my mom was carrying off, and I done leveled up to where now people associate me with my dad. And so with that became me willing to be out of bounds, to be always right, because a lot of the times I was right. Even, and a lot of times I would put myself in situations where I was wrong, because I felt like I was so right. And so that translated to men in my relationships, where it's like, it almost became, it wasn't like I was seeking it, but I knew that I was advanced because of what I was given, that I had the upper hand on men that I was with. And so a lot of times when I would go into a relationship, I would try to lower myself to let them lead because I didn't want to be a leader. But over time, you keep making these mistakes, and now here I am slipping you like little suggestions of like it's a better way to do it. You ain't got to go that way. So now I'm being helpful, but I know like that that's that sneakiness because I'm about to take this relationship over. And it wasn't intentional, but it always ended up like that, where now I'm telling you what to do because you're always wrong and you literally don't know better and you literally got to follow me. And then once I got bored with it, I would just leave them and I was done. And then that was it. And I'll just be by myself. And then the validation would come in where even if they did me bold, I would find a way to get you back, but I will always get you back good, which is bad. Like it should not have been. More so I thought. But the thing was is that the validation would come with after we broke up, they will call back. Like even if it was a year or 3 years in between, and they would always come back and be like, and it wasn't to try to get me back, but they would try to pick me as far as how I operated when I was with them. And how where did that come from? Like what is this thing that you have that other women don't have? And I would get flattery out of that because it's like I'm not gonna tell you, but like I know that I'm just different in a sense to where the information that was given to me you don't have. And so it's almost like, when I spoke about how um when I had first joined the remnant and the brother who is no longer here, who tried to come at me with those same tactics, I did that in the world. So it's like I could see where it was because I understood that I played those same type of games. I wasn't using the remnant or religion to my advantage, but I was using the upbringing and the way that my dad moved and the way that I navigated through life in situations like that, to where they would come back to me trying to figure it out and I just wouldn't get. But that was like the power that I was dangling over their heads was I have something that you don't have. And no matter who you try to go be with out in the world, it's going to be that void because I'm not there. Mhm.
Was it really power when you were still going through the same situations and indoctrination?
See, it wasn't. The thing was,
My question was because to me, that is a lie from the enemy when
Mhm.
we say we had power and I was able to do things back to him. Because in the indoctrination, I understand what you're saying because of the information that you had.
Mhm.
But my question is because I know some situations is that we think we have the power, but yet for years we will allow ourselves to go through the same situations in the indoctrination. It just took you to get fed up with that. So people can go through abuse. People can go through a plethora of things, somebody cheating, or you feel like you gonna cheat on them and you got them back because maybe who he cheated with, you didn't think that person looked as good as the person you cheated on him with, or I had the information so I finally left, or you could have an abusive relationship. And my question is, at what point or what made you feel like you had power in that? Because I know a lot of smart people who felt like they had the power over somebody, but they were still operating in the indoctrination. And literally, they didn't have the power because what they gave up was all they had in the first place.
so the thing with that is that it's not in the. It was more so. I'm saying it in a story sequence of at the time. That's what I thought it was, and that's what I'm operating as if like because out there you do women will feel powerful. We know that it's not power, but you will ask them do they feel powerful, and they'll give you those same characteristics. So with that, that's what I felt like at the time was that because that's the only point of reference I had. And so a lot of with my tech, a lot of times when I have to start low and then elevate it up because you can understand like, okay, yeah, I got those same characteristics. And it's like, do you really? Because I'm about to turn the corner real quick. So that's the thing was like, even with that, that's what I thought with that carrying that spirit. But when you said that the spirit never wins, it's because you get wore out. You will have people in their 50s, women in their 50s and 60s still operating out of that power source, and you still wore out. So at the into the world in that aspect, yeah, is to them that's what it is. But it's like here I'm going to show you why that no longer works. Why the light is dim over here. And so with that, at the time, I felt like it was when men are calling me and I'm like, okay, well, I'm about to sit back. here go this. It's like, it's a back and forth because I didn't realize I was wearing myself out over time. But when you get those highs, it does feel like you got to power up for a second. And so it's like a constant cycle. And so even with that, where was I going with that? I realized that wasn't like just those back and forth games. But when I realized that coming here, when you fully give up all of that, like all of the stuff that you were taught in the word to the Most High, He will bring restoration. And that's the true power. That's when you will be able to develop. That's when you can hand over those things that you once put on a pedestal because you realize it's no longer important. And the like your femininity will be restored. The virtue is restored. Like all of these things will come back to you once you give that one situation up. And a lot of times you will look at it like, okay, well, I'm giving myself up to the Most High, but I want to use, like, even with my case, I feel like but I know for a fact that coming to the remnant humbled me because I couldn't play those games anymore. I had to be upfront. I had to be direct with the Most High. So am I about to keep trying to play with Him like this, or am I just going to be upfront because I want all my interactions to look the same, no matter who I'm talking to or where I'm operating from? And so, where else was
I have a
going?
question. Do you feel like in your last relationship that, because I know the situation, even though you left and stuff like that, do you think if you had never been introduced to the remnant that you would not have went back to that person?
What you mean?
So you were operating the indoctrination, but you felt like you still had certain information that person didn't have, but yet you stayed there in the toxic relationship. Because I know I've been there, and we've all been in toxic relationships, and we always look at the other person as being the toxic one, right? Because as you're speaking, it's like the other person was the toxic one because you had the information, but I'm not seeing it like that.
Well, no, I'm saying that I was the toxic one because I knew that it went both ways. They would bring their toxic traits and I would bring mine because I knew that whatever I did, I would get the validation of coming out on at some point I would get that call back about whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
So that's me being deceitful because it's not like I'm heartbroken or like I'm taking advantage of. It's like I knew it somewhere, like you're gonna be like, dang, how did you do that? Like what was that thing? And so in my case, it got to a point where when I ended up leaving, it was that power source running out of me just being tired. Like it's like I don't know. It's not, and it wasn't. I'm not going to say it was like a cat and mouse where it was always in the back of my mind, but it was just something that I knew occasionally I would pull from to operate from. So even with my relationship, when I ended up leaving that situation, it was more so because it's like I felt, which I had spoken a few times, like going into 2023, I started. I remember at the time I had a Twitter and I would just be typing, just like saying like, I feel a shift coming this year, or like the Most High will put you in situations to see if you overcome them. And so I started aligning once I started aligning myself with that, like that voice. So shortly after that, I found the remnant, and that's what made me be like, you know what, I can't like this. That's what it is. That's that thing that keeps trying to pull at me. And I ended up going to the mosque right beforehand, and I was like, this ain't it. And then I ended up going to the remnant, and I was like, okay. And so that was right when I was transitioning out of that phase of that relationship of no longer wanting to be that person of like, why am I having all this drama and I know I'm bigger than this?
Right.
But at the time in the world, I knew I was bigger than that. I just entertained it because I knew that a lot of times they were weaker than me. And it was just it was just something to do. It was like I genuinely want this relationship, but I keep outgrowing everybody to where this is what I have left. This is whatever circus
Are those
I'm
like
creating.
your genuine thoughts? Were you thinking like I'm bigger than this person and I'm outgrowing this person? Were those your actual thoughts? And I'm only saying that because, and I know everybody's different. And I know, the things that you got from your father and what you've been through, right? And I'm only saying that to say that in the indoctrination, right? When we're operating, because this remnant information is totally different, because it teaches you to, when you go back, you can literally, sometimes we'll be talking from where we're at now. And when we're looking back at it, we're not wanting to look back at self, right? We're looking back at it from a remnant mind. And I've done that. So when I look back at my relationships, one thing I do know is had my husband never came in my life, I would still be where I was at,
Yeah.
operating in the Jezebel spirit, in the manipulation of playing those games. And back then in the indoctrination, I really thought I was doing something.
Mhm.
And when I went to go be with somebody else thinking I was doing something to that person, I was doing something to me. But I didn't think that in the indoctrination. I felt like I'm doing something to him. Oh, you want to do that? Okay, I can too. Or, yeah, I know this and I can tell you what to do. And I might have some information because I've been like that in a few relationships where I felt like, I was always having to tell somebody what to do, how to do it. Maybe you should do this, thinking that I was somehow smarter or whatever than this other person, but it was really just me operating in that Jezebel spirit, not allowing this person, even if he didn't know how to be a man, I didn't know how to let him be a man because I was trying to take his place. Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's easy for us over here to say what we were or what we had, what we were given, because I was raised up in a 2-parent home. Right. So my dad may not have had this remnant information. He had some, but I wasn't raised up in a family that made me dislike men. And I wasn't raised up in a family where I didn't have my mom or my dad and whatnot. So even in that, I was still operating in the indoctrination like I didn't have a father because I witnessed the same thing going on in their relationship. So I say all that to say, because I know you bring up a lot about the information you got from your father, but yet with that information, you still went out in operating in the indoctrination and allowed situations to occur and stayed in them to the point where either one of y'all would have killed each other or you had to go. So at what point, with all the information you had, did you say, okay, I gotta go? Because a lot of women, and it is true, and we've talked about it, never leave that type of situation. They will stay there. Whatever, there are people with master's degrees. There are people who have so much information who are being abused right now. There are women who are dating or married to police officers that are abused on a daily, right? There are people with law degrees that are abused daily and they still stay there. So what I'm saying is that that's this at this information, because I feel like, and I remember you saying like some of your family members might have thought you got this place and then you might have moved him in with you, because when people are witnessing things, all they know is what your behavior has been, right? So then they're thinking, no, she ain't really leaving. This is probably what she's trying to do. So I wouldn't do this, that, and the other for her because I know I've been there, right? So it's like, I know for me, the only thing that changed me, I don't care what I had, what I got, what I knew was going on in my relationships. If I knew a person was married or this person was cheating or this person was doing this, it never changed nothing. I still stayed.
So the thing is that I'm not, when I reflect on those relationships, I'm not talking about now reflecting. That's my thoughts at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is because there are people who are in relationships who are like, I'm outgrowing this person. And I've had talks with, and it wasn't even my last relationship. It was before that, where when people are like, this man just loves you to death. He can't do no wrong. I'm like, I'm just outgrowing him. And I was aware of that. So even in my last relationship, right before I had moved out, it was that same, it was me being serious with myself of, okay, you know better, just like how Naya was saying, how like our dad would tell us, like he would give us a better point of reference and we still went out and did our own thing. And it's like, okay, you feel like you know it all and you have these answers and you see how you just nothing is, these relationships are not work. Why don't you start operating and actually go out for, or wait until like develop yourself to be worthy of that situation and stop just throwing just what is this cat and mouse chase?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when I left, when I got to a point where I'm like, what is this? Like, why am I going through, like, I'm living a life where I'm always making headlines for something, whether it's I'm talking to my family or not. I know I'm aware of it. Like I didn't like stuff like that. And so that's what made me want to be like, you know what, I can't do this. And a lot of times my situation was different because there are women out there who will just do stuff for convenience. Like I remember when we were younger, my dad used to be like, do you like this person or are they just around? And a lot of women will just talk to somebody because they're around. That's what it is. And so in that moment, I had to start thinking about that. Like, dang, you can't just you dating somebody at school because they're around, and it's like it's just something to do. So in my case, I started being like, you know what, this is not okay. Like I already that Jezebel spirit. I've already seen how far this can go. I've seen how far this can go with the women in my family and how there's a cap on everybody and they're just wore out, and it's like I can't bring change to them because or I can change, but I won't be able to talk about that positive change with them because they haven't been there yet. It's just going to be I'm gonna get there someday. And that's when I left. I was just tired of being in those conversations. And the biggest reality check to me to start getting myself together and no longer having that spirit was when I was younger, my aunties used to be so cool to me and I looked up to them and I used to want to hang out with them and their clothes and this and that. And when I got older and they started inviting me to hang out and I was listening to the conversations, I'm like, this sounds like what me and my friends talk about. Like I'm at the cool kids table, but we all getting played still. Like
Right.
it's there's nothing
Same
that
thing going on.
it's same thing going on. Like you're getting wore out. It's just I'm just young and I'll just look cute and I'm more fun. But like we all going through the same I can't come to you for relief. I can't. And I was like, it has to be a way out. I knew I didn't want that for myself. And I knew that because I was enlightened and I just wanted to be lazy and just do it my own way instead of trying to do it the righteous way. And what I knew better was I chose to do that. And so, even with those situations and dealing with my relationships and things like that, it was just a choice. It wasn't like, oh, this person got over on me. Now watch how I'm about to get. It was just like, okay, it starts off good, it's fine, but you don't have enough. And I knew you didn't have enough, but I wanted to wait around and see what you were going to bring, but we're just not on the same page. So now I have to let you go. And then it was just different things like that. And so, coming here and just leaving that when I left my relationship and coming into the remnant, that was my first step in realizing that the next time, which I haven't been in another relationship since I joined the remnant. And it was, I'm still going through my salting. And at the time I was still talking to other people with like working out the kinks. And as far as like a serious relationship or a serious attachment, I haven't had that because I've recognized that thing in me. And I knew that the next time I was going to be with somebody, it was going to be serious. It was going to be the right way. It was going to be through the Most High. It wasn't about to be based off that spirit that I'm pulling from or,
That's right.
And so I take that serious and just knowing that in the world, I've seen how that worked. I know that process of having that light in you and you going out there and people they don't know how to pour back into you, or you don't have a power source to pull from. And so even now, like I take things like that serious where I'm okay with being by myself. I'm okay with being single because I know that within this whole process and my character development and the restoration that the Most High brings, I don't have to be that woman anymore. Like that woman that I was operating in my childhood, the Most High blessed me with a whole new life where I don't even have to pull from that anymore. It's okay to use it as a testimony for the people, but I don't have to pull from there anymore as my power source like I relied on in my 20s from things I went through when I was a child. Like it's no longer necessary, and I'm okay with letting that person go to rest because it don't have no grounds here,
That's right.
Yeah. So
That's right, Curtis.
I'm gonna just leave it on that note, I guess.
Yeah, I love this. This to me, it's a famous quote because when I got with my husband and the person that I was with, when I met him, it was like he opened my eyes to something so powerful. Whatever information you've had, I think women, we go through this all the time. It's like You get with somebody and you're just trying to make this nothing situation something. And you will just drag yourself through the mud to try to make this situation something. Like, it's got to be something there. I should be able to do something. What can I do? And you just will drive yourself ragged and run yourself ragged to try to make a nothing situation something. If this person don't want it, if you feel like there's something in you that can make this person want you or want to have the life that you want to live, whether it's sex, kids, whatever, you're going to go through, have 2, 3, 4, 5 kids by this person, and the situation is still nothing, right? So I love when he told me that. I was able to look at it through remnant eyes and be like, dang, that's what I was doing, right? Because yeah, I still had that spirit because I didn't have the information, but to be able to look at what I was doing, it's what a lot of us do out there in the indoctrination. You get in a relationship, and again, you get into relationships out of convenience or out of thinking that every man you meet where you have a good connection with should be your man, instead of really bringing this information and really having something to weigh your options with, right? Like holding out, like we just don't know how to hold out. Because everybody you meet that you think you have a connection with, you think you got to give them your body, right? Give them your soul, give them your mind, give them everything, right? And it's like in the indoctrination, you don't have nothing to offer but sex, right? Because you have nothing else with you. There's no substance. There's no substance there, right? So that's why I asked the question, because I know Tori and Naya had information, but I also know even with Naya being who she was, trying to make nothing situation something in her life, right? And we've all been there, you know, and I know men have too. I'm not saying it's just women. I know men have had women where they had to try to make a nothing woman something, right? So I mean, I feel like that's where I was at when I met my husband, you know, but he was a genius at making nothing something, right? And I'm thankful for him. So yes, let's give it to daughter Julia.
I felt that. I felt that. Yeah, just what was I going? There was something that I was going to say first, but you just brought that. You just brought that back up. But I definitely had that Jezebel spirit a lot, especially like trying to take control of the situation and always having a rebuttal for everything. Like with all my relationships, it's always been like that. And not even realizing like what you're doing by having that spirit is like you're becoming your biggest enemy. And just like to be able to see that, being in the indoctrination and looking at it, like I didn't think about it like if it was nothing, right? But seeing it from with remnant eyes, it's like that spirit that I didn't even realize now, like until Cassie brought it up and you guys brought it up, like it's still a little bit there and I need to conquer that. Like, hold on. It really is. Like, I need to conquer that for sure. And I'm going to conquer it. But the Holy Ghost brought it to my attention, like he worded it like this: by doing that, you are becoming your biggest enemy because you're pulling yourself away from the Most High by operating like that. Right? So, and best believe I'm gonna correct that, because I'm not about to be sitting here being my biggest enemy. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Like, I'm gonna be my biggest uplifter, and continue to be a good person and be a remnant woman, be the woman that the Most High sent me out to be, right? Also, I was having a conversation with my mom. I'm pregnant, I'm having a daughter, right? So being able to thank you. Being able to have this information and knowing that she ain't gonna there's nowhere she could run to. Like, you gonna grow up with this information. I was having this conversation with my mom because the way my mom kind of brought me up was like she would let us do whatever. It was like my mom was my friend. She wasn't my mom. And I was having this conversation with her because with me, I'm still learning with my son, and I'm continuing to teach him discipline, right? And she was like, Julia, don't do that. Like, and I was like, look, Mom, you have no space to talk because you did not discipline me. You let me do whatever and run you around, run you in circles. Like, you let me run around in circles to you. I had no respect for you at all. But my grandma, she was the opposite. I was getting whoopings. Like, best believe I was getting some whoopings. And I have the utmost respect for her. I never disrespected her. And the times I did, best believe I got that whooping. And so I'm hearing, as I'm talking to my mom, I'm hearing her, my brothers are really disrespectful to her. And I'm like, see that right there, Mom? Like, that right there, they do that because you didn't discipline them. You just let them run around and let them do whatever. So it's like, don't try to tell me like, don't do that to him. Don't do that. No, you don't have the space to talk, like, to say that, right? Because just not you not having that discipline. My brothers are really disrespectful. They cuss her out. They call her names. They over here talking about me, and I'd be like, I know you're not talking about me. Like, me and my brothers, we don't really get along anymore. And mind you, I'm not the oldest, but I feel like the oldest. I was raising my brothers a little bit, right? That's not my job. Like, I'm not supposed to do that, but that's not my job. But now they have no respect for me. They don't have respect for anybody just because the whole household is just chaos. And me having this information and knowing that discipline is very important, and I'm installing that in my son. And now with my daughter, it's like, yeah, she's gonna have this information, gonna grow up with this information. And I definitely need to get that Jezebel spirit for sure. Like, you gotta go. Like the Most High knew I needed a daughter. Like, he said, here's your daughter, girl. Like, yeah, but just becoming that was my thing. That's what I was gonna say. Like, you are becoming your enemy by operating like that. Your biggest enemy, because you don't want to have that spirit in you, right? Because that's scary. Like, yeah, you got the enemy on your neck when you're doing that, but you also becoming your biggest enemy. And that's going to lead you to a path it's going to be ugly. And you just don't want to be in that spirit. So I definitely got to conquer that for sure. And that's where that beauty comes in, of that correction, that having that correction and being able to take it in. Because in the indoctrination, if you correcting me, I'm going to be like, who you talking to? Like, you're not about to tell me nothing. But having that correction and really looking at it with remnant eyes, it's like, okay, yeah, I need to work on that. Yeah, let me work on that. Let me take accountability and work on that. So yeah, that beauty is definitely there, because I've had it with the women for sure. They've corrected me a few times. And yeah, so I'm just so thankful for you guys, and I love you guys, and I love you guys. And we hope to see some of you guys here as well, because we're growing. The women is growing, so watch out, man. Like, we getting heavier around here. It's more of us coming in.
Wait, I got something. Just gotta break down something real quick. Because it's like a receipt basically, but I know that from experience coming into the information, you are not thinking in your carnal mind anymore. You don't look at things in your carnal mind like you would normally do. So since the topic is the Jezebel spirit, whenever the Jezebel spirit now comes around, you know how to conquer that spirit now, because you can recognize it and you can stop it before it gets too big or before you start operating in it. And now because now you have the information, now you're in the spiritual realm where you can recognize things that you couldn't recognize before. Now you can see things. Now you can see things that you couldn't see before. So like all the ladies are now testifying about things that they're taking accountability for. They're coming before you guys transparent, and they're telling you guys their experience. You guys need to listen, because you may not even be in the spiritual realm like you may not even be at that level to where you can recognize self. You may just be operating in disobedience and not like, yeah, you may be operating in that indoctrination, and you in the class watching us talk, and you're like, dang, why I don't talk like that? But you can't talk like that. Like you can't. So that's all I'm saying.
All praises.
You can't see like that.
Real quick, I just want to say something else. So, also growing up too, I want to mention that with the Jezebel spirit, my mom, she had a lot of failed relationships, a lot of abusive ones as well in her past, and she's witnessed a lot of abusive ones as well. So she's just, with that part of her life, it's just never been good. And in my family, it's mostly females as well. So I've also heard and witnessed a lot of failed relationships and marriages as well. Never knew what a real relationship looks like. And growing up, there was a lot of maverick spirit in the family, a lot. So growing up, you would hear like, men are dirty, you don't need a man, da da da. But they would laugh it off like it was a joke, but underlying, they're being serious. And so growing up with that, and then like not really knowing much about my father. He died when I was in kindergarten, but I never officially met him. I always like kind of fantasized growing up, like what it would be like if he was alive and everything. And my mom, although she had that maverick spirit, she would paint him in a good light because I was young. But growing up, she would tell me the truth about him, and that was ruined for sure too. So with that, like the Jezebel spirit, without even knowing about it or anything, it was definitely that was gonna help it definitely grow as I go on. And so going into with this information, I definitely had a problem in the beginning for sure too, with kind of focusing on my own progress with Most High. I was always worried about, like I said earlier, I put my feelings above the man I'm with, basically, and I had a problem with just focusing on my progress, and I was focused so much on him, to the point where definitely I would hold his back for sure, and I would my head's going blank, but
You were making him your God.
Hmm?
You were making him your God.
basically, like my feelings were, I would say I was making them definitely my God, but also I was putting him above, I believe, the Most High. And like with also a lot of relationships I had before and situations I've had before with men, I had a sense of control, basically. So with this information, we all know, once you get this information, there's none of that. There's no manipulating, there's no control. So me, like with the Most High, I'm like, Most High, like, don't you see what he's doing? Like basically I'm trying to be in the Most High's business, trying to do what he's supposed to do. If there's something he's doing, figure him out. And I'm like basically trying to get in the way. Yeah, that wasn't cutting it. And Most High made sure I learned for sure. Definitely the hard way, because I made it that way. But yeah, I just wanted to mention the Maverick spirit. That was just something coming up in my mind. And then also the fact that I literally was trying to be in the Most High's way. And with that Jezebel spirit would definitely, it's just a whole lot. But I just want to let y'all know, if once you get information, there's none of that manipulating, none of that control. It's not about you. And I always thought it's not about you. And that's a situation that I had to relearn, because I'm always thinking, what about me? What about my feelings? There's none of that. You got to cut that out. If you want to be in this information, got to cut it out. And that literally took me, like I said, like a couple of days ago, to actually really like fully like sit down with myself, and with also this class today too, is just definitely in full fruition with that as well. So
I want to just remind you, Kiana, that it's okay to have feelings. It's just how you react to them and your decision, right, to them. But because feelings we're always going to have, just don't let them be your God. Don't let the enemy creep in while you're in those feelings and the reaction be the enemy. You know what I'm saying? No, the decision is the Most High, and that evolves maturity. So, staying away from there. Right.
Good.
Mhm.
Okay. So we're gonna wrap this up, and I want to say that I love women tonight. We raise the moral standard.
I think my mom's done.
We raise the moral standard.
I would.
We only have 8 minutes.
Me? Who wanted to know? Tori.
I was gonna add one more point that I had just thought about really quick. Okay. Thank you. Okay, really quick. So this had just came to me because Dove had mentioned how when I had got my apartment, how the person she's referencing is my stepmother. And when we talk about the spirit and what we had went through in the back and forth, and it just made me think about what was I gonna say? I'm under pressure. Hold on. That in the world, none of us were able to shake that spirit off of us until we came here, until we made that connection with the Most High. And I say that because my stepmom actually, when I was in that relationship and I would get kicked out, or I'm calling her crying, or I'm outside my parents' house, but my pride won't let me go through the door, so I'm sleeping in my car. Every time my stepmom would be that person that was like, well, you don't want to come back home because everybody living here and it's cramped and you should just go back there and work it out. And so this person, even though I felt like she was trying to be that source of comfort, she was feeding into she was putting me back into that cycle. And I'm thinking like, okay, I don't want to go back home. I do like the fact that I'm living alone. I don't want to be in my parents' roof again. And so it was wild to me that when I finally got fed up and when I finally was like, okay, I'm serious this time, even though that person in the background was telling me to go back, and I chose to. I'm not going to say she forced me to, but it was that convincing, like, yeah, I don't want to go back to sharing a room and dealing with my parents and dealing with my brothers. Like, why would I want to go back? Like, I like this. I like my space. And so she was influencing me to where it sound good. It sound like just it sound like figure it out. And so this same person, when I got my apartment, and mind you, I had never, like, I would go back, but this was the first time where I knew I was serious. And I'm like, you know what? No, I'm leaving. And the who was Jay's mom, her apartment. This is before I even knew Jay. And my dad called me like, yeah, Jay mom apartment is available, and whatever. And I'm like, who is Jay? Like, I didn't know Jay. I didn't know the remnant. I'm like, what? Who? Like, I didn't meet Jay till I actually moved in. And so my stepmom was the same person that was like, like she was telling stuff to my dad as far as like, well, she just gonna let that boy go over there. She just gonna, I don't even know. We should take. So it's like this same person, and everybody has that person in the world where they fake try to motivate you. They try to encourage you. They try to make it seem like you got to get out there, or they influence you to get back into the situation. And when you finally get that breakthrough, they try to pull you back out of it. And so imagine if those people actually listen to her and they're like, no, you're going to move that, which I never did. I want to make that very clear. I had my mind made up. I can't do that cycle, and I'm not bringing you into my house, because the one promise I made to myself is if I leave your world, you and all this stuff won't exist in my world. And I kept that promise to myself, which motivated me to then operate differently. But that was just, you know, and I wanted to say, when I said the information, as far as using that, I would say that I was using having a father figure in my life against the men that I was with. That was the information. That was the advantage that I was operating in. But I just wanted to highlight that my stepmom was that person. And so, but and it's not that I've held any resentment towards her, or how could you? Like, you seen, you know, she saw the bruises on my face. She's seen how bad it was. And she still was trying to plant seeds here, like, don't let her get that house. And then she telling me, you need to stay with that man. So you wanted me to be stuck. You wanted me to be stuck in that cycle that you were stuck into. And it's that thing of, when you don't have relief, you can't give it to somebody else. You're just hopeful, but you've never seen it. And so being here, people can see that relief that you have within your life, because you're showing them a point of reference. You're not just guessing your way through it. And it was that situation right there where, woman to woman, that could have sent my trajectory completely left side, because I'm trusting you, because I wanted a mother figure so bad that I'm willing to listen to anything. And that's when we have to realize that in the world, we'll push ourselves onto people because we want that figure. The Most High is the only figure you need.
Crazy.
You know?
Yes.
So I'm gonna just end it on that note. But I was like, I got that last little bit of energy because I wasn't feeling well, and I'm like, this got to be said.
Victoria wants to say something really quick.
Okay, I won't be long. I just wanted to say this. After sitting back and listening to everybody today, and I have 2 daughters up here, Tori was right. I, not realizing, passed on that Jezebel spirit. I didn't realize that I grew up in the household. It was only my mom and my auntie. We didn't have a big family like that growing up. But as we're talking about it, and you mentioned it in the chat last night, I went and looked up what that spirit and what that is. I'm like, that's what it was when I first got here. I called it out in one of the ladies' night as the ego, but it's that thing, that Jezebel spirit. Not realizing that seed was planted in my daughters. You know what I mean? That planting that seed of all those things that it come with. And just, and the important thing too of being in a remnant is it's refreshing for each one of us up here to be able to be honest and say, yeah, I had that thing in me. That thing still show up, and you still got to conquer it every day. It embodies you. It can live there and breathe. It's like it has its own heartbeat. So you definitely got to stay on top of it. And we got a little baby girl remnant coming. We call them baby remnants. We got a baby remnant on the way, female, and we're gonna cover her, and we're gonna keep her safe. And just again, she'll grow up in a world, where she'll read about the Jezebel spirit in the history book. It won't be in this room.
Oh, praise Yes. Okay. Well, we enjoyed you guys tonight. We hope you enjoyed us. I want to say that the remnant women, we raise the moral standard. We are the exemplification. It is present within us, and it has to be salted for. And I want to say that we don't go out trying to prove anything. We just be. All praises. Good night.